Honestly, my outlook on cockroaches after this episode has completely shifted. I'm like, I want to be a cockroach. Forget about a bald eagle. I don't want to be an eagle. I want to be a cockroach.
Oh, bald eagles are little bitches too. Bald eagles steal other people's food. They sound like chickens. They eat monsters. You want to be a cockroach?
Just ugly.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Overshare. I'm Lily here with Jocelyn, remotely, of course, because, well, actually, not even because of COVID right now. You're just in Arizona.
I know. And it's so weird. Like, I really am getting, well, I'll talk about this in the next segment in the Over It, but I think I'm over the quarantine. I'm really over it. Like, I'm sick of not being around people. No, like, I really, 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 really think so, honestly. But I'm in Arizona, where Chris and I have been. We're working on a few house flip projects out here. I want you to come visit at some point.
I would love
because
to.
We're now like in each other's pods officially. So after we saw each other, because we did do a video on Shared Channel together.
Yeah,
have you seen it? It's really cute. It turned out really cute.
I mean, I edited most of it.
Well, it looks really good. You did a great job.
Thank you. Yeah, guys, if you haven't seen, we bought, and by we, I mean I bought a bunch of Amazon Prime stuff on Amazon Prime Day, and then we tested out what we could. Some of it weather didn't permit. I still need to take Max swimming. One of the things was a life jacket.
The main thing that I am bummed out about are the jeans. I'll just give this spoiler alert. Lily bought me and her a pair of very cute jeans from American Apparel that were highly, highly discounted. And they are the most uncomfortable pants I've ever worn in my life.
Speaking of being over things, including uncomfortable pants, should we get into our first segment?
Absolutely. Let's jump in.
So, over it.
What she said.
The thing I'm over, point blank, is no longer hugging people. I know that this time period has probably been a dream come true for people who like to limit their personal space. Yes. I am not one of those people. I will literally hug anyone, almost anyone. I have hugged so many strangers throughout the years. When I think about the meet and greets that you and I have done and how many people I have hugged and how much joy that brings me, I am sad. I've hit the point in quarantine where like, I just want to give everyone a really long hug and I can't. And I'm over it. I'm so over it.
And I'd like to even pride myself. I feel like I give good hugs. And
you do.
And I want to be able to give good hugs and get some good hugs back. And I just, it's not happening. Max doesn't appreciate them.
Who was it? Was it somebody me and you were talking to? Was it Jarrett Sleeper, actually, now that I think of it, that was like kind of upset. And his mom was like, when was the last time you hugged someone? Because it releases certain endorphins. There was like a
beauty tripping episode where his mom, we were going to get a massage. And he's like, yeah, my mom calls me if she thinks that I've been like depressed and not seeing people. And she's like, are you getting enough touch? Are people touching you?
No, it's true. Honestly, I think it's really a true thing. Anyway, so that's what I'm over. What about you?
I mean, I would say I'm pretty over quarantine as well. Honestly, I feel like all my over it and Sharewells all have to do with TV or politics. But I would say that I'm over all of the different streaming services.
Oh, why? Because you've already watched everything?
No, because I have to pay for like 15 to be able to watch everything. And then also I'm really over, I'm over myself doing this, signing up for free trials and forgetting to not cancel them.
Oh my gosh. Well, at least you know that your Quibi trial, you're not being charged for anymore because it doesn't Quibi shut down.
I was like, do I know that? They're probably still charging. Speaking of, I'm like, have you been paid?
No, I have not received payment yet from Quibi. Lily and I both did a brand deal for a show on Quibi called The Stranger, which was interesting to enjoy as a full-length movie style. I feel like that's like how I would like to enjoy the content on Quibi, more so than like the quick bites, which is what Quibi stood for. But unfortunately, RIP Quibi.
It was very nice watching it in a drive-in setting for that.
You and I have already talked enough. This is our second episode that we've shot today. So
it's been a long day. Let's see what our audience is over.
Let's see what one of our callers is over. If you guys did not already know, you could actually call in and be a part of the show. In fact, we would like you to call in and be a part of the show. I'll give you the phone number at the end of the segment. But right now, let's roll the tape.
Hi, so my name is Ginger, and I had one thing that I have to overshare that has been stressing me for the longest. I am so tired of people asking me, when am I getting engaged? Now, hear me out. I've been in a relationship for basically 5 years at this point. I'm 25. I met my boyfriend when I was 20, and we both know we're soulmates at this point. But it's like, ever since the beginning, when people saw that our relationship was solid, they've been saying, so when you get engaged, And me and my boyfriend are the type that we want to have our futures established separately first before we can start making those steps together. Like I said, we've been together since I was 20, he was 21. We're currently now 25, 26. So I only recently graduated college in 2019, so I'm still getting my foot in the water. And my boyfriend just started his new career in the military and is trying to make new steps in his life. So we're still making those progress, and we're relatively young. So we're both not in a rush. We know we want to get married, but I'm just tired of people asking because it feels like it's putting pressure on him and me, because now I'm thinking about it like, damn, maybe we should be married by now, or at least engaged. But I'm not worried about it. But I'm definitely not going to be that type that's going to be waiting 10 plus years to finally get engaged. I'm not about that. I just know our time will come. We are slowly getting there. We are making steps for our lives first. That's all I want to say. Like, I'm not in a rush to get engaged right this second, but I do want it, and we both know it's coming at some point. So I want everyone to stop asking. I'm so glad I had to get that off my chest, and I just want to say I love you guys. I love everything this is about, and it feels like another place where I can vent all my problems. Love you guys. Bye.
Wow. Ginger, girlfriend, I have been in your shoes, and I don't want to jump the gun, but I'm pretty sure you are the smartest person you know. Because it sounds like she's like taking mature steps to get her life together, and she's only 25. So
I just, in general, I think there's such a societal pressure on marriage, and I definitely have felt the weight of it as someone that is painfully and obviously single. But especially if you're in a relationship for that long, I feel like that's kind of like weird to say to people. Like, and also she's saying that it's making her like worry, oh, should we be married? Don't let everyone else being insecure about the relationship affect what you feel about the relationship, because clearly you guys are fine.
And I think you have to ultimately get to the point. Thankfully, like with Chris and I, we dated for 5 years too, or four years, sorry. And I mean, we were older too. So people started asking us like right away, when were we going to get married? When were we going to get engaged? Whatever. And I think the response you have to give is like, thank you so much for caring, because I think that's why people typically ask, or that's what I like to believe. But I think you just have to be like, how about this? You can stop asking me and I'll just let you know when I want to. And then people are like, oh, okay, sorry.
That is the thing, because I don't think most people are doing it from even a place of like, are you getting married? You should be. I think they're asking just as like a conversation point, and
100%.
to be like, oh, you guys are together for a long time and it feels like you kind of already are married. When are you getting like, when are you officially tying the knot? But
Yes.
I do think it must get old after you hear it over and over again.
Exactly. And I think it depends on your family dynamic too, because I think for me and you, and obviously I don't want to speak for you and Linda, but I'm just taking a wild guess because I know your mom. Like, I was never getting pressure from my parents to get married ever. They loved Chris and they were like, but they were also like, you do you are a grown up, you can make your own decisions. So I think it's hard when you get pressure from your community and your parents, which if that is the case, I feel like you ultimately might have to have a conversation of like, please stop
Back
asking
off.
me
Yeah.
because it's like here is our plan. And also it's our plan, not your plan. So, and here's the thing I hate to tell you, Ginger, is like, it doesn't end. You'll get engaged. And then literally 3 minutes after you get engaged, they'll say, when's your wedding? And you're like, we just got engaged 5 minutes ago. I don't know yet. Then you get married. Then it's like, when are you buying a house? When are you having kids? When are you having another kid? Are you going to have another kid? It's like, and I think people just overdo it as far as what they think is appropriate. But Lily, you were right. I think the only reason people do this kind of stuff is because they just care. They're genuinely curious,
And they're just like planning in their head, like, oh, are they getting married? When am I going to a wedding next?
Exactly.
And as for what my mom thinks, she told me relatively recently that she pretty much has given up hope on seeing me get married. So I was like,
thanks, Linda.
if you guys want to share what you're over and be featured on our podcast next week, call into the number that Jocelyn's about to read to you because I don't know it.
It's 562-661-8729. Call us and leave a voicemail with what you're over in 3 minutes or less. And with that, Lil, I feel like it's time to say hello to our guest, and I'm so excited to talk to her.
I'm so excited too. You guys, we're bringing on Alie Ward, and just it's going to be, we've already filmed this part of it. It's long and it's very entertaining. So get ready.
It's very good.
Hello, everyone. We're back from our break, and we have a guest with us, and we're really excited. Alie Ward has joined us, the podcaster, the actress, the host. You've done so many things. Like, you're more accomplished than I'll ever be in my entire life.
No, not true. Absolutely not true. But I have had a lot of careers. I feel like I've ping-ponged around. I've like pinballed around from like dee-dee-ba-doop-ba-doop. But I
just explored a lot of worlds.
Yeah, I've explored a lot of worlds. And in Los Angeles, what are you if you're not a hyphenate? Am I right?
That's true. And also, guys, fun fact, she is also the lovely girlfriend of the one and only Jarrett Sleeper.
I know.
So that is how we know her. And
I know.
We were just reminiscing about some past videos that he was in with us. And what's it like to live with him?
Oh, wow. Well, what's it like not only to live with him, but be quarantined with him during a pandemic?
I can't imagine. It like never a dull moment.
It's really not. I'm sure there's so many people who are like, he has a girlfriend, and because I think a lot of people weren't sure, if he had girlfriends or boyfriends, because he's kind of all genders in one. He's
very fluid.
I know he's someone who can deadlift several hundred pounds and then cry while reading a poem like moments later. So.
I always describe it as like, you never know what you're going to get looks wise when he would come into a shoot, because one day he would come in and be like a lumberjack. And then the next day he would come in with like gold tights and a fanny pack. And it's like, oh, okay. Eventually it just becomes very normal.
Oh yeah, he contains multitudes. We were broken up so many times over the last 9 years. So there were times when we weren't together and we were together, but I met him eight or 9 years ago. He was a butcher at the time. I know
he also has had a lot of careers.
He's had a lot of careers. I met him in a butcher shop. He was wearing like a chainmail apron and he was splattered in like lamb blood. And I was like, what's this scrumptious thing? And he's so funny. He's so hilarious and so smart. And I was like, I remember him telling me that he had a weird last name. His last name was Sleeper. And I was like, is that really your last name? He's like, yeah, look at my driver's license. This is the first night I met him. And he shows me his driver's license. I didn't care about his name. I was just like, date of birth, date of birth, date of birth, date of birth. And I was like, oh, man, he's so way too young for me. And so because of our age difference, we just kept, breaking up, being like, oh, I'm in a different play. You be in your 20s. I met him when he was 25. So yeah, but he's hilarious. It's like, we're not sick of each other yet, which is kind of bananas, but yeah, he's just every day he's dancing around and making up songs. And
I mean, you both don't seem like people that are like boring at all. So I feel like the two of you together, I can't even imagine the stuff that you're doing to entertain yourselves.
Oh my God. I went away for a couple of weeks. I was helping my parents out and I was up north and he was like, yeah, I really miss doing bits. Like, when you're not here, I can't do any bits with anyone. Doing bits.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
And
I love
not
that
for
so much.
anything, just bits, like
Just
for
bits.
you two. Yep.
Just wall bits. Yeah, he'll walk around with his underpants pulled up to just under his pectoral muscles, and then with a mustache, proclaiming that he's the strongest man in 1906. It's just like, you never know. But yeah, he's delightful, and I always loved watching all your videos because y'all were both so charming and funny, and so I really enjoyed them for you guys. So I feel like I know you because I've watched you for years, like doing circus arts and eating donuts,
Oh my
sandwich,
gosh.
all kinds of things. So yeah,
Just
big fan of it.
Yes.
living through a bunch of trauma
Well,
together.
I have to say, Alie, I, for one whole year, have been successfully married to a man who's younger than me. The danger zone is something that one of my girlfriends coined as soon as we got out of college. And it's like this weird era where, like, people are just sowing their oats, doing their things, trying to get their own lives. And she always had this theory that she was like, the danger zone for men happens when they're 23 or something, 23 to 28. You can enter the danger zone as a nice person and exit as a crazy person. And she's like, it's the danger zone for men. Once they're 28, you can really find out what's going on. She's like, but from 22 to 28, it's just, you don't know. And I'm like, honestly, I definitely don't know that it's over at 28 or that it's just men, but it was fun to kind of just talk about at the time. But yeah, age is, what is age?
What
right?
is it? That's so true, though. I
What
met
is it?
I met Jarrett when he was
I-
25. It was
And that's
he was
like,
very
isn't it
DZ, very
crazy?
danger zone. Yeah.
Very
We've already
cheesy,
abbreviated
but
it.
Yeah. Yeah, he was.
But
he
it's
was,
so
yeah.
funny, when you're growing up and, you like, at least for me, my parents got married when they were like 22 or something. And you're like, as a teenager, I was like, oh, by the time I'm 25, I'll probably own a home and, be like settling down. And then when you are 25, you're like, LOL, I'm like hitting the club and like
I
working at
wasn't
Outback
doing that at
Steakhouse.
25.
I was a music writer
crazy.
into my 30s. And so I know it's weird.
Of course.
I was working for the LA Weekly and I got essentially assigned like to the nightlife beat. And so I was like turning 30 and I just wanted to be home with like some good earth spicy tea and just some sort of like a comforter on the couch.
Yeah.
And I was, getting to places at 10:30 at night, 11 o'clock at night, drinking vodka sodas with well vodka. Ew.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And having drink
Ugh,
tickets
that's
so
crazy.
I could, like watch bands and take notes on them. So yeah, my danger zone was like prolonged for occupational reasons because I had
That
to go
sounds
report on nightlife.
absolutely horrible.
It was bad.
But it's crazy because you are like such a multi-hyphenate. Like, I did so much internet stalking of you. You, like, first off, you need to write a book, like, with all the anecdotes of all of the things, because I cannot imagine how many stories you must have.
Oh,
But listen, I know like Lily or whoever said that, I think it was you, Lil, who just said that people in LA are multi-hyphenate, and they are, but like you're successfully multi-hyphenate, which is a difference.
And also like
You know what I
unrelated multi-hyphenate. Like, it's not just like model actress. It's like, no, you've done like a bunch of random, it's a myriad of things.
it is. I think it's sometimes tough because you have to give up maybe one career path to really commit to another.
Mhm.
And then you might get down the road on that one and decide, well, I kind of did what I wanted to do here and I really missed the other one. So I'm going to make a little bridge and go across and try to do both. And so there was a lot of that. Like I was always really torn between science and art and like science and film and movies and stuff. And so I felt really pulled in two directions. And those are, especially before the internet, those were very opposed. Like
Mhm.
you're not going to go around like counting tadpoles, doing field research and then also like doing avant-garde cinema. But so I was really pulled in that direction. And I just found like, I'm a swerving car is what I'm saying. I'm just swerving in and out of lanes my whole life.
But you haven't hit anything.
So far, no. So far, so good. But yeah, so I always go like science and art. And then, and yeah, I think my whole career advice to anyone, this is the secret of my success.
Tell us.
And I will finally,
Everyone listen.
is just get in wherever you can like a cockroach. You have to think of yourself like a cockroach. Like if you want to get a job somewhere and you emailed someone and you didn't hear back from them, you got to ping them again. You got to get in. If you have to volunteer one day a week, shoveling something unsightly, get in there, get dirty, get in the door. And like never take silence as a rejection, because usually the person on the other end of the email just doesn't have their shit together. So if you're like, hi, I'm really interested still, those are the people who get things done.
That's true. That's
I love
very
that
true.
cockroach example, because also cockroaches are supposedly going to survive the apocalypse. And to me, I mean, endurance is everything. So also, I guess, be that cockroach who doesn't give up and just won't die.
Yep, pretty much.
Right?
Find a way in.
And also now that I feel like you're kind of a living version of what I always say is that it's like, if you can get a job generally in what you kind of want to do, then eventually you can kind of make it what you want in a perfect world or an ideal world, I guess.
Mhm.
That when I started working at Clever, it was entertainment news, and that wasn't like something I was super passionate about. But I was like, I knew I wanted to work in video, and then I kind of just took it from there, and it turned into something I wanted to be doing. But you host a science podcast now.
I do.
So like you took two worlds and that were never related, and you could finally not have to just build a bridge, but you could like have them merge.
Yeah, which was kind of nice. And I always love that about you, Lily, too, is I know that you came on to Clever and really gave it your voice. Both of you did. And don't leave your weirdness at the door is my point.
I think that's like a mantra, honestly, to live by. And I think that is what is, I couldn't agree with you more. And I love that you said, like, I think especially in this day and age, and especially if you're working in digital, well, maybe not just digital, but in general, I love that people have the freedom now to really create their own paths and their own destiny in ways that we never have before. Like, I would love to hear from you, Alie, because I know you are like a legit actress, and I don't know how long you've been acting, but like, do you remember the days when like your only option was to, if you wanted to like be in stuff, you had to book a role. Whereas now it's like, if you want to be in stuff, you could very well like make your own stuff and be in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What was it like when you were starting out, like back in the day?
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is going to scare you so much. Okay. Imagine this, right? If you want to make a bit on a film, you want to make a 3-minute video, right? First, you have to get a ton of lights that weigh like 40 pounds each, and you have to rent them,
Of course.
literally. And then you have to buy film stock, hopefully enough to cover. And then you have to go get it developed. Sometimes your film would just be at the developer for months until you could raise the money to actually pay to get it out. Because like, you wouldn't get your developed film. I knew a guy in film school who pawned his car, his Mustang. Yes, he had a Mustang. It's like a nice car. And like an old Mustang. And he had to pawn it to get his film back from the lab for his assignment. So yeah, so number one.
That is wild.
Yeah. And then you had to cut it. You had to go to the lab and you had to cut it on a flat bed with a razor blade, frame by frame. And then you had to splice it together, because I'm 86 years old.
That would have deterred me from being interested.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, and not to mention if you did it wrong, you're out of luck so hard.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. it's
So
so
now,
true. Like
do whatever you
back
want
in the day when I was learning how to edit in like journalism school, we were doing like a very similar sort of thing. And if you messed up, you're done. Your project's trash. That's it. Too late. Goodbye. There was no like, oh, let me undo that cut and paste. It was like, well, no, you're just done now, which is just wild to think about.
I know. It's so now the fact that you could make a feature film on your iPhone, like for CBS, I'm on the show CBS Innovation Nation, and we have 2 cameras running usually, but my producer runs a wide shot on her iPhone, and that runs on air. God. Like it's good enough quality.
I shoot this on
quality.
my iPhone now because it's like more forgiving on your face and just like looks better.
So make stuff.
I just
Everyone
whipped out,
stuff.
if you're watching this as a YouTube video, which by the way, I don't think we ever, I guess we probably did in the intro, that Jocelyn is not here right now. She's here by phone. But Joss has seen this in person. This is my first, I don't know where the actual camera is, but the box for my first camera ever that I got in 1997 when I was 7. And my grandma got it for me for Christmas. And it came with like, it had like I'm like, where you're looking here. It had like an editing software and everything. And there was like a little like book that it came with that had storyboards that you could draw and put stuff in. But then the editing, oh my God, there was like, you could do like Harry Potter newspaper style effects. So it's like the video is in the newspaper and it would zoom. That in 1997, that was a possibility. So I'm so sorry that you had to go through those dark times because that's what got me interested in video. And then I was able to pirate software through high school and teach myself. But
now that's just think about if you had to go back and make a video though based on your camera from 1997.
I've made like most of that video where it's like vlogging with my camera. It only holds like 30 seconds. It's like literally the memory card is like 35 megabytes. But it's crazy because the fact that like I feel like even me compared to when you guys were growing up, having access to stuff that got me interested, I wouldn't have been interested if I had to like manually be cutting film. Wouldn't have been an attractive thing to get into. But then now literally you could make an entire movie on your phone. So I'm like, so even compared to what I had access to, now it's like, there's no excuses.
Yeah. Make weird stuff is my advice to everyone. Just keep making stuff because you get better at making stuff as you make it. I remember when I first started Ologies, I was like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to format it. And now I've learned so much. This is one thing I learned from scientists a lot is that failure is part of success. Like no one is successful without failing so many times on the way because that's just how you get better at stuff. And so, yeah, this like perfectionism and fear of failure is something that I was always really plagued with. And I've had to learn that just fall on your face a bunch because getting up is what gets you better at it. So
it's true. And I think also the way that you present, like for me personally, I'll be totally honest, like science and math were never my strong suits growing up. Like I had to work really, really hard to like get okay grades in those classes. And so it's been hard for me as an adult to be fascinated in things that I'm kind of intimidated by. And what I love about your show is that it's very unintimidating, but very educational at the same time. I listened to your episode about the science of mortuary makeup. And I was like, this is the kind of science I can get down with. So like for people who are not familiar with Ologies, like how do you describe the show, the podcast?
Oh, I mean, it's always been kind of like ask smart people.
I love
smart
that
questions, you know. Because that's totally okay. And a lot of the times they'll be like, that's a great question. You're like, really? So it's just that notion of like unabashed, just be curious about stuff. And that there's gossip in everything. You know, even science seems really sterile, but what's going on behind the scenes in science is chaos. I mean, it's labs filled with, you know, dirty beakers and broken experiments and people staying up all night and so a lot of scientists are just really passionate about what they do. That's why they got into it. So you or I may not be well fit for a mortuary makeup career, but the person who is fucking loves it, So then talking to someone who really loves something is always going to be exciting. And when you're not afraid to ask them maybe not smart questions or not expert questions, then you get all the good
I feel
stuff,
like that was basically like our career at Clever when we would go to stuff. It was like, let's put these two stupid girls in this situation and give them a professional and let them ask whatever they want. And the people were always just like, sometimes they would enjoy our earnestness, we'll say. But other times I feel like they did get annoyed and they'd be like, oh my God, you guys are so stupid. But we definitely are fans of asking shameless questions.
I just think like you're standing in for the audience anyway. So
and it's like, I always said, especially with like being able to Google things, you should always Google things because there's always someone that has Googled that same thing before you. So there's like the odds of it being out there are pretty good. So I feel like that's the same way. It's like, if you're thinking it, someone else has probably thought it too.
You know who I've wanted to get on the show so much, and I've reached out to their PR. Dr. Pimple Popper. I want to do a dermatology.
You have to probably help facilitate that.
I know.
I think she still follows me on Instagram.
Oh my gosh.
I still follow her and it's like I forget and then I'm scrolling and then I'm like, oh, okay. And then sometimes it's satisfying and sometimes it's like it's too much.
Well, I mean, speaking of Overshare, I don't follow Dr. Pimple Popper, but I sneak over there.
Yeah, you have to go like you have to know that you're going there. It can't just pop up out of nowhere.
I know I'm going there. It's a destination. And then I'm like, okay, this cyst is going to be too bloody. I'm not ready for that. But if you've got like some sort of
blackhead,
it's funny because I've even been thinking about her recently because I've been having a lot of skin issues and I feel like I'll see some stuff that she does and I'm like, ooh, maybe that's what's going on with me. Should I see if she wants to do a video? So maybe we could just like do a whole day. We'll be like, where was she located? Wasn't it kind of far?
She's here
she's in Upland.
Oh, LA.
There's
no
out in the
traffic
909 area. Yeah, still close to LA. But I think like she is a prime example of, when I was growing up, 80s, 90s, whatever, if someone would have been like 15 years from now, everyone on the everyone will just be consuming videos of someone popping pimples. I would have been like, yeah, right. That makes no sense. But that's like the beauty of it.
When we met her and she was like, yeah, well, I noticed that people were really into watching these popping videos and that there seemed to be kind of like this niche audience on the internet. And then I decided I wanted to be their queen. And it was just like, yes.
Okay, there you go.
But there's something about, and I don't know if it's just like the particular anxiety that I have where I'm like, I like to see a job done. And then, but you know what though, is as long as we're going to overshare.
Please.
Can we get into it? Okay.
Yes.
So the escalation from pimple popping, I got a message from someone who was like, have you heard of mango worms?
I don't know.
Excuse me? What are those?
You guys.
I do. Tell me more.
Okay. You know how they say like the blackhead essentially is like the gateway drug. And then mango worms, there's some hardcore stuff. A mango worm is not a worm. It's actually a fly larva. And it's a type of fly. Infects the skin, like the skin of dogs. And then they have to squeeze them out. Like the dozens. And it is like disgusting.
Gosh.
It's juicy. It's cathartic. And then you're like, this dog's finally getting some help. So I feel a little bit better about that because there's like a vet that's helping extract these things. But it's nothing compared to facial extractions. It's disgusting.
But also, I mean, have you ever dived? Why don't I know the past tense of diving? My gosh, what is wrong with me? Have you ever dived into the world of tapeworms?
No. Have you?
That could be but that could be your next general step. I remember hearing, and maybe these are urban legends, that the only way to get a tapeworm out is through the rectum, and it has to be at night with a flashlight because that's like how they come out. And then when I watched the movie, what's the movie with Amy Schumer in it where she's like on a trip with her mom?
I don't know, but I know
what I'm
talking
talking about.
Yeah.
Somebody in she gets a tapeworm in that movie and they have to pull it out of her mouth. So I'm just saying, that might be TMI, but I'm sure there's a world in which you could get someone on your show, some sort of ologist, to give you the dirty deeds on all of the things having to do with these.
Like, I don't know if you want to voluntarily do that.
People used to do that. People used to do that. You could purchase tapeworm
doesn't it
eggs
make
in
you
the
lose
20s.
weight?
Yeah. It was a weight loss aid in the 20s. Tapeworm eggs, no joke. I mean, this is the same time that you'd have like arsenic primer. So what is anything?
So where I thought you were going to go with the pimple popping or just in general, when the stories of like a bug laying eggs and then it like spiders or I can't even think about it.
Bot flies, same.
No.
What?
Our poor listeners are like, I'm gonna go throw up. I'll be right back.
Sorry.
But no, I mean, seriously, like, I think that is why your show is so cool. And so much of what you do is because, people like me who are more novice, who don't have an understanding or even like an exposure to a lot of the topics that you're covering. The moment that I see that Bill Nye is on your show, I'm all in. Okay, I need to know everything about Bill Nye. You were on his show. He was on your show. What is the man like?
Oh, you're deep dive. You're so prepared. He's great. He's great. He has a show called Science Rules. It's a podcast, and they asked me to be his first guest on it. And I had
honor.
Yeah, I just fainted from imposter syndrome, just like absolutely like take me to the hospital. I'm not good at I'm having like no self-esteem. I need an infusion. But so I was very, very flattered. And so yeah, I went on his show and we talked about essentially just about it, like flat earthers and climate deniers and how to try to figure out emotionally like what's going on with them. And I did an episode on Ologies called agnotology, which is the study of willful ignorance, which was really interesting.
I'm going to listen to that one later.
Oh, it's really fascinating. But yeah, so then I got an email from his people, as he has people, because he's Bill Nye.
He's Bill Nye.
And
he's he's the science guy. He has people.
He's wonderful. So he wanted to come on Ologies, and I was like, we will find an ology for this. Yeah. So he's just delightful, and he's just has such a good heart when it comes to wanting everyone to be okay and wanting to make sure that the older science establishment is welcoming of LGBTQ populations, and he's just very like, I see you, don't worry. Not all old white guys into science are horrible bastards.
I love that.
Yeah, so he's wonderful, and we had a great chat. We talked a lot about his beginnings, and actually, you might find this fascinating, but in his episode on Ologies, he talks a lot about him being pulled between engineering and comedy and how difficult that was for him.
Bill Nye, a stand-up comedian.
Comic. He was a stand-up comic. Crazy. So yeah, and he's delightful. Yeah. But I love him.
And you even kind of like you referenced this like earlier, like saying and I know, especially maybe not Lily, like her generation. Are we different generations? I guess we kind of are. I'm 38. So like, I feel like even when I was growing up, there was very much this pressure to like pick a major when you were 18 and then do that for the rest of your life, kind of. Yeah. And there's just so much pressure, especially when you have so many different interests and you've done so many things. Like, first off, we've never had an Emmy winner on our show. And I don't even think I've ever really talked to an Emmy winner at length, to be honest. Or
anyone else that's been on Grey's Anatomy.
That is true.
Or anyone that's been on Grey's Anatomy. So like, first off, Grey's Anatomy. Like, we need to know everything.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, I started off in film school, and I got my first job in TV when I was in film school. And then back then, SAG, you only had to make $13,000 a year to get SAG healthcare, which was like nice.
Oh,
And so
wow. That's awesome.
So I would do like a TV job or two a year to keep my healthcare at least. And so, and I think with Grey's Anatomy, I forget, I think I knew the casting director. I think they had done a show I had done previously. So, and it was playing a pregnant woman, which I've never been pregnant, but that
I
was
had
in
Googled
itself-
you have a whole your wiki page that has your entire storyline.
Oh no. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh dear. Oh my gosh. Holy smokes.
The fans are intense.
Oh my God. I did not know. I'm sure that I didn't know how to carry myself as a pregnant woman, but you know what was kind of cute too is I think they fit you with this belly full of bird seed. What's filled in it is bird seed. So it's heavy like a pregnant lady's, I guess.
So it makes you just mimic what they would be doing anyway.
Yes, you just kind of waddle around. And I remember waddling around to the craft service table being like, this is great. And because this idea of like, oh, I'm going to be on TV. I'm going to be on Grey's Anatomy. I have to look my bust. It's like the abs. There's no abs happening. Like I'm wearing a pregnancy suit. And it was really cute. Some of the crew, like I'd go up to set and then they'd be like, oh, take a chair. And I was like, oh, they made the real
like,
fetus
I'm not
in
really
here.
pregnant.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of sunflower seeds and stuff.
But I totally need the chair. Thank you.
Definitely, I will take the chair and I will have an extra hot dog. Thank you. But yeah, so it was delightful and tensions were high on the set between some members. I'll say that. I could tell there were rifts.
Drama.
I know.
This is season 2 for context. So
Yes.
That
way
was
back
some
then.
serious drama. That was when
Yes.
it was like the original cast was still there.
Yeah,
it was like before everyone died.
pretty much. Yeah, before all the plane crashes.
Yes.
But Katherine Heigl was always reading a book up until they needed her to deliver a line. Like she'd just be facing a novel and then they'd be like, okay, places. And she'd like walk up to her blocking, to her mark, reading the book and then close the book and be like, well, what is it? An aneurysm? Like just instantly. And I'm like, how does her brain do that? What is she reading? She's like Anna Karenina and suddenly making out with someone in a locker room. I'm like, she's amazing. And I remember there was one person who plays the doctor on it, and I will not disclose who, but they hated the storyline.
Like, all of them?
All of them, exactly. I'm covering my bird seed right now. But I hated this storyline. They thought it was so stupid, apparently. And I saw them take notes on their clipboard as they were like interviewing another patient. And I saw them write down, this is so ridiculous on their, like as a frustrated actor. No, like,
oh my gosh. And now the show's been on for like literally 4,000 seasons.
Yes.
So if that person is still on the show, they're probably just like accepting it and the massive paycheck at this point.
Oh my gosh. I know. I
That's
just wanted
funny.
to sneak over and just write what the rate was, right? I think my mic cut out there for a second. But yeah, so that's, but I did love being on there. It was so fun. Everyone else was so nice. And I remember at the time, this was like a million years ago. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, it's going to be so funny when I actually have kids to show them this Polaroid from the fitting. And I'm like, not having kids. I'm like, sorry, mom and dad.
I'll show someone else's kids.
Yeah. It was like this big lump of grain is the closest you're going to get from a kid. So yeah.
You should have held on to that thing. You could have gotten some perks. Like you probably could have got good parking spots in LA and like, people would have held doors for you. I feel like that would be a fun thing.
I should.
Going up to sample tables like, sorry, eating for 2.
Gonna need an extra. Just Costco, just wiping Costco out. They're like, she ate all of our toaster waffles.
I haven't been to Costco in so long.
Has anyone?
That's true. Is it open?
I know there are things that I miss are the stupidest things. Like I'll miss going to Costco, or I'll be like, I remember when I used to just walk around the Americana sipping an iced coffee. And I was like, why? I think you can still do it, but I'm hanging, keeping a low pro.
People will be like on Twitter, like, oh, I miss like browsing Target. And I'm like,
yeah.
Are we not doing that?
I know I haven't been out much. I just haven't been out much. But
Alie, what's like your one thing, like when this is over, whether that's like 6 months or 7 years, like what is your first stop? Like what are you gonna do when we have like complete freedom someday?
I think just an orgy, right? Like most of us, just Burning Man.
Of course, yeah.
I'm gonna wear a tinfoil bikini. I'm gonna make out with people who just have one name, no last name. I can't wait. I'm gonna have an ecstasy lozenge. I don't know. Do they make those?
I don't know, but everything you just said could have come out of one of my friends' mouths, and I would have believed it.
I'm gonna ride my motorcycle.
That's great.
No,
Oh my gosh.
definitely gonna go to Sturgis. No, that's not gonna happen. But you know what I miss is I have like 2 people who are just rich and famous enough to feel entitled to and to pay for the Disneyland tour where they give you someone an escort and then
My friend used to be one of the escorts.
Oh my god.
Yes.
She's like met celebrities and become friends. Kelly Clarkson was one of the ones she met, and then she gave her tickets to her concert later and was like, and apparently she was an absolute angel. It was the best story I've ever heard.
Did she have anyone that she was like, this guy's like Steven Seagal sucks?
I don't think so. I'm not like super close with the girl, so I don't know if I maybe just heard the good stories, but I don't think so. She like really liked working there.
I mean, this is the way to go.
I don't think most people are mad when they're getting a private tour of Disney. So
very, very true. And if anyone's not familiar, this is maybe also an LA thing where people have more access to thousands of dollars to go to Disneyland. But when you are a famous person and you can't be like harassed in the line or someone's going to make me take a picture with their baby and it sucks, like you can tour all the rides and you get this escort who's like in a cute plaid uniform and they take you through the exits so that you just hop on the next available roller coaster. Like you just go through the exit line, they escort you on.
By the way, you guys, the only reason I know this is a thing is because my friend was the person working she was the escort. You know people that did that?
I know 2 people that did it.
That
One of them
still can?
I don't think that they can still do it, but I got invited for 2 birthdays for it. And I got to go along with it. And
Did you go to isn't there the club?
No, for that, I think you have to be in the Illuminati. Like, I think you have to be you have to be like a high priestess of something.
Is it club or it's like D23 or something?
I think it's 33.
33.
You definitely have to sign something in blood. For sure.
That's where they they do adrenochrome teas.
Yes, it's so good. I've heard it's so good. And there's so many available children. It's great. It's terrible. But no, but if you
it's all joke, everyone.
If you are like in the 1%er enough, you don't have to wait in any lines. And there have been times where I will never pay for that myself, but there are times when I'm like, that sounds so nice to just go on a bunch of dumb roller coasters.
And actually, now that you say that, did they pay for it?
Yeah,
maybe
you have to pay $1,000 an hour or something crazy.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I kind of just felt like they gave it to some famous people. But then like maybe if you, oh, wow. Can anyone pay for it?
I think so, yeah.
Oh.
I think you just have to
I'm
be
acting
one
like
of those
I
people.
like Disneyland even a little bit enough to be even remotely interested in that. But that would be cool if you had just a ton of disposable income.
I suppose. Yeah. I don't know how you would grapple with it ethically, but it definitely is. Wow. This is how some people do it. Holy smokes. So yeah, that, and I'd probably go to a buffet, to be honest, not at Disneyland, but I would definitely hit a buffet. Can you imagine?
You know, Alie, we've talked about this on the show that I'm like scared that buffets and more importantly, the salad bar at Whole Foods is never coming back.
Okay. But so here's
These are
my
the things
take on
that keep me up late.
My take is, why do buffets need to be self-serve? Like, couldn't it just be like, there's this menu of all of this stuff and maybe they have it out so you could like see it. But like, then the waiter gets just like a small portion and then it's just unlimited. Cause like,
that's a good point.
What's really the difference of you getting it and someone else getting it?
I think the buffet would be significantly higher priced. You wouldn't be getting soup plantation prices.
I get, well,
you know,
only because you'd have to pay more waiters.
For sure.
True. This
But
is
also,
true. This
even
is true.
couldn't
But
you just like go up to a section and be like, "Hi, can I have one?" And someone like hands you one rather than like you taking it.
Yeah, like
I don't know. It feels like there's some workarounds
yeah. I think that you should workshop this. You need to get a whiteboard and you need to just start
for all the
brainstorming,
buffets I
baby.
own and need to manage.
Just like buffet 2.0, people.
To
Yeah, I
kind of
don't know.
rescue buffets from the pandemic. That's going to be my contribution to society.
Yes. But I can't believe it's been going on this long. I remember the first 2 weeks we were like, oh, this is going to be nuts. Oh my God. And now
Jocelyn was just saying she thought it was going to be like 3 weeks total.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought at the beginning of COVID, I was like, I should make a time capsule video to myself. Like, dear Jocelyn, don't forget what you learned during this 1 month, whatever. And then now I'm like, LOL, this is going to be like maybe a couple years, maybe longer. This is going to be like a huge moment in history. I don't think I'm going to forget.
Yeah, I don't think many of us will. But one thing I will say, I'm so disappointed. I thought I would get my shit together in the first week of it. I'm like, a week off of traveling for work? Are you kidding? I had made a list. I was like, I'm going to read 5 books in 1 month. I'm going to Marie Kondo all my clothes. I had such an ambitious list of chores. I didn't do jack of any of it.
I've had like a lot of very varying waves of like super productive for a couple days, and then it's like, oh, either like my back hurts and I can't move, or like I'm just like anxious and can't do anything and want to sleep all the time. But it's never like a steady like, oh, things are going fine.
Right.
It's like either, oh, I'm going to work for 12 hours straight, or I'm not going to work for 2 weeks.
Well, I talked to a neurologist, or a neuroscientist rather, who said that COVID brain is a thing. If you are forgetful, if you feel spacey, if you're not good at multitasking, it is just in general, all of the things that have been happening this year take up a lot of space in our brain, like our processing power. So if
I thought you were going to say it's a symptom of having COVID. I was like, but if you don't.
No, but one thing that has relaxed me so much, and I feel like you guys would love this. It's like the same feeling you get watching a pimple popping video, but not disgusting. Okay. 2 things. 1, whittling. Oddly,
doing it or watching it?
Doing it. It feels like a little, like every time you like nick away at a little bit of wood, it feels like the satisfaction. You know, I made a couple spoons. They're great.
Oh my gosh, I'm very impressed right now.
I am, and it's the first
out
cut
of
I
what?
Wait, that I
like,
made?
Yeah, you're like wood.
Yeah, wood.
And what's the tool you use?
A whittling knife that you buy
Like
online for like $30 or whatever. But buy the gloves because they make cut-proof gloves. The first time I did it, y'all, I opened up my finger and I fainted. So don't. Just use the gloves. Just use the gloves. Cut away from the body. Anyway,
Jocelyn is not allowed to whittle anything.
Yeah,
it's probably not. No.
But the other thing I think that y'all would like, and this is no risk and not disgusting, but I'm a little bit obsessed with it. I recently got a pill shaver. Do you know what those are?
What?
Like a sweater shaver. Oh, it's the best $13.
Yeah,
I was thinking like pills. Like
no, yes, I could understand why you would think I was raving about something that crushed.
I was like, why would I want to shave my pills? I don't want to. No, I need all of them.
I thought maybe you were like mixing your own pills, like dumping out all the insides and then building your own.
I only need 2 milligrams of Adderall.
Oh my God. A dicer.
Pill shaving off clothing. I would really benefit from that, including the sweatshirt I'm wearing right now. I feel like
really. Do you have pills?
On everything. I feel like I do my laundry wrong somehow.
No, this is so exciting. Okay, I got one. I'll send you a link. It was $13. It recharges, so you don't need new batteries for it.
It's electric?
It's electric.
Wow.
Because my couch was getting all of these pills. It looked like garbage.
My couch
and so,
too.
yes. Oh,
because we're sitting on it too much.
So that's probably literally it. It's like there's too many tears.
I sleep on mine a lot. So
I fall asleep on mine all the time. It's so great. And you just run it over and then it just gets rid of all the pills and it makes this like very satisfying crackly noise. And then
it's kind of like the satisfying from like vacuuming.
Yes. And you can, I had two of my girlfriends over for a distance hang on my birthday recently. And I was like, I just want you to bring your most pilly sweaters. I'm going to sit across the room from you and I'm going to shave your sweaters. And I did. I just drank a kombucha margarita.
It's the ultimate birthday activity.
It was magic. I was like,
That sounds satisfying.
so
I
satisfying.
could give you quite a bit of material.
Oh, I really do.
I just
wanna
drop
have a
off
service.
trash bags.
I want to go to Goodwill and just kind of hide behind a rack and just
Like, I'm going to make these better.
Yes, it's like I found it for like $14. It recharges. It's just, and then you can see in this clear window what kind of stuff it's shaving off. Wow.
Oh, I love that. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, that's
you're gonna love it.
amazing.
You're gonna love it. It's
Oh,
the
I
best
love it.
$9 you can spend.
That
Perfect.
sounds like such a good investment for satisfaction.
It really
High
is.
satisfaction.
And there's no words.
Okay, well, I also want to talk about just because I don't know if we'll ever talk to someone ever again who's won an Emmy.
Oh.
But like that's a big deal in the TV world. That is the highest accolade besides a Kids' Choice Award, which is my favorite award. And I'm curious, like, what is that like to win an Emmy? And is it like overnight your life just changes and like Oprah's knocking on your door, like, Alie, come over and be my science person?
She will not stop texting me. And it's gotten to the point.
Fucking
I'm like,
Oprah.
I know. So many memes and I love them and stuff, but I'm like, I have like actual work to do. Like I'm running an empire, so, you know? Hold on. Do you want me to see if I can get Jarrett to bring it in? Do you want to see it?
Yes, please.
All right, hold on.
I love that you have an Emmy handler, by the way. You have an Emmy, you have your man to bring in your Emmy. Carry it in.
You know, I kind of never thought I would get one ever, but it was always kind of a pipe dream. And I remember being nominated and just having a really good feeling about it, being like, oh, I don't know. But I was up for 2 this year, and I lost one to Mike Rowe. Yes. Jarrett's in pajamas.
Yay.
Oh my gosh, Jerry.
I like your stash.
Look at these people. Who are these people?
Jocelyn's not actually here.
There's
but
actually one
she
image.
is
I was like, wait,
on-
that doesn't look like Jocelyn.
She
I
is
was
a
looking at
phone
myself and Alie. And that's Lily. Yeah.
I'm here.
Alyssa, how are you?
Jocelyn's there too.
Yeah, no, I figured in the audio section. This is my job now. Yesterday, I brought you a sword for a podcast that you were recording.
we were saying it was nice that she had an Emmy handler now.
Yeah, I think I can hear
can
you a
you
little bit.
hear?
It is,
Yeah.
Well, okay. Lovely to see you.
He's my Emmy handler. And we're wearing
She has
matching
headphones
pajamas.
on and
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
That it's large. That looks heavy.
It is heavy. Thank you, sir. That will
Thank
be
you,
it.
Emmy handler.
He did. I was doing Adam Savage, his podcast yesterday, and he was talking about how he was on a conference call and he realized everyone on the conference call had a sword handy in their house. And then Jarrett just walked into the room with a sword. He's like, I overheard it. That's amazing.
Oh my god.
I was just gonna say,
That's
are
so
swords
funny.
things people have? And I'm like, of course Jarrett would have one.
Of course, absolutely. But yeah, this is it's kind of weird because I feel like I have 1.5 Emmys, to be honest. Like this, we won for the show, and so the producers, like only the executive producers, I think, are supposed to get the Emmy, but they gave me one because they were like, we couldn't make the show without you, and so they weren't like allowed to submit our names in the beginning anyway. So I have this one because the show won, and then I was nominated for host and I lost, and then but I was nominated for writing and I won that one. So, and that one's still in the frickin' mail. I won it in July, and they
But
still
like, you'll be able to eventually have a picture of holding 2 Emmys.
2 Emmys. Ugh. But you know, I
You
have a
can't
friend-
win anymore because it doesn't look like you'll be able to hold them.
I don't know, what am I going to do? Put the other one in my pants?
I
That's
mean, I
not
guess
how
Jarrett can
hold.
carry it because he is your handler. So
You could carry it. My friend Catherine has 2 Emmys as well for choreographing. I almost said choreographing, and then I was like, what are
doesn't
words?
sound right.
But yeah, she's a choreographer for a bunch of comedy stuff, including the new Borat and Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and like if there's a comedy show that has
Some
dancing,
wild
Wow.
she's But she's won 2, and hers are prime time, and mine are just daytime. And so I feel like it's like the highest honor is really a primetime Emmy. And
So like you've got your toe in the door, but you need to kick it open.
Yeah, but celebrating.
But
for
also, I
Catherine's
think
is fun.
any Emmy is pretty amazing because you're talking to 2
Yeah, I was
people
gonna say,
who
we
have
don't
not
have
only
either.
we've never been nominated to the Emmys, invited to the Emmys, and the only thing we've ever been nominated for sort of was the Streamy, and we got last place.
And I'm
So, I
pretty
mean,
sure that you have to like pay for that.
Oh, those streamies take your money. But I will say
They do.
I mean, to come full circle, Cockroach. Here's the thing. They won my show won for writing, the show that I'm on. And I had a segment that was written by another producer that I read. And after they won for writing, I was like, hey, can I write this segment? I will write it for free. And that will have me credited as a writer on the show. And they were like, sure. So I've been writing that segment for 5 years. And that is what got me on the writing staff. So when we won a writing Emmy, and they used a clip from that segment in the Emmys. And so if you're not a hungry cockroach being like, I will eat a fingernail, then sometimes the opportunities might pass you by.
There you go.
Honestly, my outlook on cockroaches after this episode has completely shifted. I'm like, I want to be a cockroach. Forget about a bald eagle. I don't want to be an eagle. I want to be a cockroach.
Oh, bald eagles are
like,
little too. Bald eagles steal other people's food. They sound like chickens. They eat from monsters. Yeah. You want to be a
they're just
cockroach.
ugly.
Yeah.
I hope that's the cold open for this episode. Bald eagles are little. That would bring me a lot of joy.
I know.
But like, Alie, okay, you've won Emmys, you have the podcast, you were on Grey's Anatomy, you were a writer. I could talk to you forever about going to UC Santa Barbara and living the dream there, because that was probably
I've
like
had many a horror story there.
From UCSB?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Try being a goth at UCSB. Try being someone who wore all black wool in May at a place where like board shorts and Tevas were all that mattered.
Walking down DP, going to all the parties in your goth outfit.
Oh, I was also straight edge. So I was a straight edge
What?
at the time. Like not super straight edge. Like I would write like X's on it, but I just
but like you didn't drink or do drugs, and you went to UC Santa Barbara.
You know what? They had a good bio program.
That's the thing. Also, though, it is a really good school, but also for anyone that is listening that isn't familiar, UCSB is like notoriously also a very big party school. Mostly because it's like literally on the beach and just like everyone's just like it's day drinking and barbecues all the time.
Yeah, and I left after 1 year. Because I was working.
Shocking.
So I started going to community college because I really wanted to figure out, do I want to go into film or do I want to go into science, because I was studying science there. But yeah, I was like never had a sip of alcohol, never smoked weed, totally straight edge, like writing like 18-page term papers, listening to Bauhaus. Like I did not fit in there at all.
Walk down the street and get contact high.
Pretty much. I mean, yeah, I remember there was just Natty Light cans everywhere on campus. And so it was, but I was always like the people were very nice to me because they were like, oh, this poor goth girl, why is she here? And so, yeah.
Is she lost?
Yeah. Is she okay? Is she okay?
No, but I was listing off all of those many things, and I'm sure there's many more that we don't even know about. But like, you know, life is young. Like, what do you want to add to your hyphenations net? Because if anyone can do it, it's gonna be you.
I mean, there's so much that I want to do. And I feel like, I think when I was growing up, I thought I would get married and have kids, and the kids are like your legacy. And it's funny because I worked on cop shows when I was like my first job was on a cop show, and I had to be a victim on a cop show a couple times in my 20s, but I got mugged in real life, which sucked way worse. And after that, I just had this weird turn where I wanted to, as a woman, get things that I wrote and made and my thoughts out there instead of just having a kid or reciting things that men wrote for me. And so I don't know. I think I'm really driven by this, by putting my own voice out there as kind of a legacy, and also with Ologies, using that platform to have other people hop up and we can hear what they love about their science and what their experience has been like. So I think that like having more people who historically have not been heard is something that drives me to the point of like obsession with my work, because I just feel like leaving something behind is bigger than what I thought it would be. So yeah, so it's I want to start more podcasts. There are shows that I want to pitch, like I want to make a book. And so I think just this idea of like not going softly into the night, like
I love that.
So, yeah.
I love that so much.
That's so
and I think there's like so much legacy that you can leave behind. I think as women, especially, like there's so much like, I mean, we see it in the media all the time, but like, oh, you're not going to have a child. Like, what are you going to do with yourself? Like, as if we're living in the 1800s, right? And I think there's talk about Oprah. Like, my gosh, look at her legacy. It's incredible. Basically, what I'm getting at is...
And no one asks why Oprah doesn't have kids.
I know,
no,
I'm sure
exactly.
Privately, but I think like,
right.
It's right for some people. It might not be right for others, but I think feeling like no one gives you a voice. You usually have to take it, and so I think that's part of my cockroach mentality is people aren't going around giving people careers. You really have to fight for stuff, and you have to fight for other people too. And so I think it's this notion that if you're good enough, you'll be discovered is a total just horse pucky. And so just like, keep making your stuff and keep putting yourself out there and like be as weird as you want to be and make stuff. And that's usually how you can move the needle on things. Yeah. That's what worked for me personally, but I don't know.
We have Pimple Popper. She might be the pimple queen, but you, our friend, are the cockroach queen. And I feel like that's going to go really far. Like, I think of someone that I really respect a lot. I have this like weird habit where I follow celebrities on Instagram and then I pretend that I'm friends with them. So like I leave them comments like, yeah, girl, me too. Or like, you go, whatever. And one of them is Mindy Kaling, who I've been a huge fan of for so long. I've never met her. I've never seen her in person at all, but I've read her books and watched the content she's made. And she was like, yeah, the reason I started writing stuff and making stuff is because that's how I knew I was going to get in things, was that I was just going to have to make them myself. And I personally have just found that to be so inspiring for so many years. And it sounds like exactly like what you're talking about. And I think it's so much more rewarding when you're the person in charge of everything anyways,
Yeah, I think authorship has a type of fulfillment that I didn't really realize before. And so you really feel like when it's your stuff and your voice and you can be, I think just being authentic is, as you guys know, is kind of the most value that you can bring to something. And I'm sure that you found that too with Clever. If you tried to be anything other than real in terms of your reactions and your thoughts, it's not as interesting.
Well, or that it's like perfect example of like things going on behind the scenes that maybe weren't as good as everything should have looked on camera, and then us not being as authentically ourselves because of all the stuff behind the scenes. Like the comments would reflect that. It would be like, why is Lily being such a today? Be like, because Lily got told she couldn't say this.
Yeah.
But I think in general, just doing the best you can at your job, at whatever job you're given, and whether that job is something you scrounged as a cockroach that was like seems beneath you, but then could lead to something later, which I think leads to what I always tell people, that obviously you have to have a certain level of skill for whatever position you're going after, but there's so much also with connections with people and making relationships, and especially in LA where it's so relationship based, where even with your Grey's Anatomy saying that you knew the casting directors, so they put you on, that like, yeah, they could have done a casting and found someone else, but like it's easier to hire someone they know and trust and like already, that they know is easy to work with. So being able to have those connections span like years, you don't realize how many opportunities will come up because someone just is like, oh, I like had that person in mind that just, and especially with social media now too. So you're always kind of like staying, like people can keep up with your career and you cannot talk to them for 2 years. But then even, I mean, Tony and I just went on a road trip thing in Oregon with Tony from Black Box.
Oh, really?
And
Oh my God.
he was like, I had this idea for a series and I had been following all of your stuff recently and I know we haven't talked a while, but I thought you'd be perfect for it. I'm like, that's so something that like I met him through Jarrett, through Clever years ago and like have not worked or talked to him in a while, but just having that good memory of like when you did spend time with them, it was an enjoyable time. You're much more likely to work with someone that you just like. If you had three people to pick from and one of them was like super overqualified, but like horrible and no one wanted to be around them, I would much rather pick one of the two less qualified people that I actually like.
Yeah. So burning bridges is never, I feel like there's some people that are like out of ego will burn a bridge.
Exactly. Or acting like jobs are beneath you that you aren't putting your all in. It's like, no, well, you should probably try with everything because you never know who's watching and where that might lead.
Yeah, for sure.
Very true.
I mean, I stopped trashing hotel rooms for that very reason, you know. Stopped. I still drink on the job frequently, but
that makes people like you more.
That's appreciated, though. It makes people like you more. Exactly.
No, I swear.
Well, hey, Alie,
sometimes.
are you down? Are you down to stick around for our final segment of this show?
Yes, of course.
Okay, great.
So long, Sharewell. I hate us so much more now.
This is our little segment called Sharewell.
So Sharewell, it's us saying farewell by sharing something that brought us joy this week. Because we also start the podcast off by saying what we're over and basically complaining for 20 minutes. So this feels like we ended on a positive note.
Oh my gosh.
So what brought you joy this week? It could be just generally something you want to share, or it could be like, I watched a video or I saw this tweet or I don't know.
One thing I have been that brings me joy almost every day and quarantine so far, there's a candle company called PF Candle and they make
I love those.
They make these incense cones, y'all. And I got myself some as a treat. I think they're about $20 and for like a can of them. And I light a little incense cone and that's like how I start my work day. And I have to say that this whole lockdown has smelled like PF Candle, and Jarrett and I accidentally called it PF Chang's, and now we just call it PF Chang's.
Thinking you're gonna say.
I know. It's like it's not lettuce wraps, but it's PF Candle. They're based in LA. It stands for pommes frites, and they're really cute, and that's something that is one of those little things that just like, and the pill shaver. I mean, come on, guys.
I still in my head and immediately went to like shaving a small pill.
I know.
I agree. Candles, incense is a little strong for me, but candles I love. And I feel like I go in phases where I like kind of forget that I love them and I won't use them for a while. And I just recently bought some new ones and it's just so relaxing and nice. And especially because it's getting cold. So I feel like that's my substitute for not having a fire.
Yep. It's so much joy.
And PF Candles, by the way, I love, and I have on my dining room table and had no idea that the PF was for pommes frites, which is French fries, which makes me love it even more.
Agreed.
I think I'm even more on with that brand. They have an amazing assortment of candles. Huge fan. Lil, do you want to go next or do you want me to?
You can go. I'll finish this up.
Okay. So on our last episode, I shared that what I was really over was, and you know, my life is so hard. Wait until you hear how stupid I am. What I was really over was the fact that my Botox was wearing off, which meant I started getting tension headaches every day. Okay. Not only is my face getting wrinkly, but I'm also getting headaches. Life is not going well. So you know what I did last week? I boogied myself on over to the dermatologist and I was like, shoot me up because I am sick of it. So I'm very, very excited to report that because of the fact that I can currently no longer move my forehead, I'm not getting headaches. It's fantastic.
Congratulations.
And thank you so much. I documented the whole thing. I'm going to put it, it's probably already on my Instagram by the time this comes out. But yeah, you know, I mean, it's not why I initially started getting Botox for headaches, but it's definitely a major perk So, I just want to say shout out to my dermatologist.
It's
really
funny that you bring
appreciate
that
it.
up because while Melissa, our producer, and I were waiting for you to figure out your technical difficulties, I was literally holding up my forehead like this because I get this one wrinkle that is like, Joss, you can't see at the moment, but it's like basically like if I had a unibrow, like it's right in the middle of my two eyebrows, that I get that line from furrowing my brow. And that's like, I haven't gotten Botox in like, I feel like it had to have been like February. So I feel like since I've been doing less, I've been like having less facial expressions. I don't know. Maybe my face is just also, I haven't been wearing as much makeup and it's a little more hydrated. But, and I think driving, I do a lot of squinting and I haven't been driving as much. But, do you have any lines that like literally I can like hold it up for like 20 seconds and it'll kind of go away?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I got this.
That's been my new improvising for Botox. I'm jealous that you actually got it though.
Yeah, I'm like, listen, hey, I saw this girl on TikTok today, brought me a lot of joy. She was like, hey, for people watching this, if you want to do injections, if you want to do this, if you want to do that, just do it. If you don't want to, don't do it. No one cares. Just do whatever you want to. But I always like to be really honest about, I have not had any surgeries, plastic surgeries yet or anything.
We know you
But,
got a
like,
face transplant. Stop lying.
I got a face transplant. I'm actually 85. But like, honestly, I like to be honest about it because no amount of sunscreen could make my forehead this slick, It's not natural.
Well, in
It's
Botox, I
chemically
feel
induced.
like what Melissa and I were discussing also, she said that her mom has it and so does mine. And that my mom is actually the one that told me to get Botox to begin with. Not because she was like, you look old and need Botox, but she was like, do it now as a preventative thing because otherwise you'll end up with this. And she's right because
Well, I would love to look like your mom.
My
is
mom
like
does look great, but she
75
does
years
have this
old.
one line that I would rather not get, and I can see it coming. So that's why I got it. And then
my
it's like I don't feel like and Botox wears off.
It wears off.
Yeah,
It's not like
great.
it's like
this is now we're not sponsored by any Botox companies,
like,
by the way.
but I would gladly accept.
Same. What brought you joy, Lil?
Well, I would say what brought me the most joy was the election results. Or at least
thank you.
The kind of results, I guess.
The current election results.
Formal?
Yeah.
I don't really know. Trump seems to not think so. But he also held his press conference at a landscaping place. So that also brought me more joy. I think even that it's just the joy kept coming.
Oh, so
there's
delicious.
so many things. But if we want unpolitics related joy, I would say my sister told me to watch The Queen's Gambit on Netflix. And I didn't even, seeing that title brought no joy to me whatsoever. So I didn't even look at what it was about. And I don't know anything about chess. So I definitely didn't know that was a chess related term. But then my sister told me it was about a chess prodigy that also is doing a lot of drugs and drinking. And I was like, I'm intrigued. And she
sounds interesting.
Well, my sister and I have very much the same taste in TV shows, which is usually the more up, the better. So if she's going to recommend it, it's usually going to be something I'm into. But I think I'm 4 episodes in and I have to say, big fan.
Really?
I would recommend.
I've heard great things about it. I've heard it's really, really good from people that are kind of TV snobs too.
I don't even know what genre it's supposed to be, but I would say it makes me laugh out loud a lot. And I don't know if it's not jokes that they're saying, but it's just kind of I don't know. Basically, the girl's a chess prodigy and her mom, she was an orphan and the mom adopts her and she flies her all over the country and takes her out of school so she can compete in these chess tournaments and win the money. And the mom is very, very composed and put together, but also a huge alcoholic and is always just casually chugging an entire thing of vodka. And it's just oh, everything's fine. So I find myself just like cracking up because they're ridiculous.
Oh, I've heard it's so good. What service is it streaming
Netflix.
upon? Aha,
It's
I've
like-
heard of it.
Netflix,
heard of
one
it.
of the
Which
10
you've
that
heard
I
of
subscribe
because
to.
you're also on. Because also
Oh yeah,
Alie
because you
is
have a
on
show, which I
Netflix, so,
actually want to
you know,
binge
casual.
as well. 100 Humans.
Yeah,
Which
that was
I
good. That was
have to
very good.
ask because that's on my list of things to watch. What is your favorite experiment out of all of them?
Oh man.
Which, by the way, you guys, it's a show where they have 100 people. It's a bunch of questions that then they find out the general population's answer by having 100 people participate in an experiment related to it.
Yeah, I think I like the age. There's an episode about age, like what age group is the sharpest and the smartest and able to solve problems.
Oh.
And there's a lot of twists and turns in that one. Let me tell you. So yeah, probably that one. But yeah, there's so many shows I want to see. There's so many. Last thing I watched was The Great, and last thing I binged all of was The Great. And is the Queen's Gambit, is that a period piece or no?
It's in like the 70s, like
period
60s,
piece, right?
70s. When you say period piece, I think like
Corsets.
The
way like
1800s.
and that's like not my style at all. I'm like, I need it to be in this century, but it doesn't feel. It doesn't feel like you have to be like in the mindset of like this is taking place in this time period. Otherwise, I won't understand it.
Okay. Oh, I want to watch that one. Okay, good. I'm glad I'm
Same.
glad I'm hearing
adding
that
that
it's
to
good.
my list.
Me too.
Yeah, Jocelyn, actually, for
well,
once,
Alie-
it's something that I'm recommending that you would actually enjoy.
Oh, well, thank you. I just finished watching The Umbrella Academy season 2, so I'm actively looking for something else to watch.
I haven't seen that.
But yeah, I do have a very I'm not allowed to watch scary things or I will never sleep.
I
ever for the
mostly
rest
watch
of my
like
life.
murder documentaries, so it's not really her.
Well, Alie, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I want to make sure that people listening know where to find you, know where to find Ologies, all of the things. So what's the best place that people can hit up to find more Alie Ward?
Oh, alieward.com. Boom.
Just
There you go.
aggregate
She
all the
has a
content. in one
website.
Put it all
place.
there.
I love it.
Yeah, one alieward.com. And then there's links to Ologies and shows and stuff. But yeah, Ologies is such a passion project. So I hope if anyone is out there who needs to know about snail day and all kinds of stuff.
And if anyone has, we'll do what we can for the connection to Dr. Pimple Popper. But if anyone else wants to put that out there in the
hit her up.
universe,
Yeah, just let me know. I feel like that's overdue for sure.
we're
for sure.
secreting
But
it now, and it's going to happen.
Yes, of course. Thank you for willing it into the universe.
Of course.
But yeah, so there's all kinds of episodes up there, and there's one about beauty called Ologies, which is all about beauty culture, and there's tons of psychology ones. There's one about anxiety called Fearology. So there's up on my website, there's listed by topic. So just dive in. Yeah, it's illuminating to say the least. But thank you so much for having me on and having Jarrett's mustache make a cameo. He misses you all so much.
I know, and I hope that we can meet in person soon and continue our, cockroach domination.
Yes,
I got distracted. My
Amazing.
camera died again because I think I finally just filled up my phone
Oh,
after recording
Well-
a lot of these.
oh my God. But
Well, that's probably perfect timing.
good timing. Go, anyone out there, go be a cockroach, make stuff, be weird.
I love that.
I love that. Put that on a shirt in 2021.
Go be a
I
cockroach.
Go be a cockroach.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you, girls.
Thank you. Bye.
Of course. This episode is over.